normally at this point we would go ahead and write our Hello World program. However, instead, what we're going to do is we're going to import the project files into Subversion. Now, each of you have, in the CS2173 class, have had a Subversion repository set up for you. The information about that is going to be given to you by your instructor, and now we'll show you how to import that. So if you've created your project, it should look something like this now. We haven't actually coded anything yet. Now, at this point, there are two possibilities. You can right-click on the project and select versioning import into Subversion repository, or selecting the project, clicked on Team Subversion import into repository. Either way, you'll get this screen and a complaint that it's an invalid URL. For Subversion, the way we'll be using it, we'll be giving it a URL. The URL we will choose is HTTPS. The S is important. Now, the first part will be the same for everybody. The name of the server is eos.nps.edu. And then for this class, there's a location. It's SVN CS2173. Now, the final part of the URL is going to be different for each of you. That's your actual repository location, and it will be your login username. In this case, that is mine. And what you'll then have to do is click on enter the username, and again, that should be your login name, and then the password. Now, the difference on this password, this is the password that was set up for you in class. It doesn't necessarily correspond with your normal login password. It's separate for this. I would recommend that you click on saving the username and password if you don't want to keep entering it. So at this point, you should have the repository URL, https eos.nps.edu, svn cs2173, and then your username. Your username again under user, and then the password, save username and password. Clicking next, you will see a seemingly scary thing. It says error validating server certificate for the host not issued by a trusted authority, blah, blah, blah. Now, basically, I'm the authority that issued it. So if you don't trust me, then reject it. Otherwise, you should click accept permanently if you don't want to keep getting annoyed by this. So we accept that, and then we select the repository folder you want to import into. Now, here it's suggesting the name of the project. We will want to stay with that, but click Browse first. And what you should see is a directory structure, which is basically how your repository has been laid out. Now, notice that branches, tags, and trunk are the three together with what this suggested one is. You want to put everything you commit into one of these three folders, and pretty much everything will do, at first at least, will go into trunk. So select trunk, and then click into a new folder. And it suggests, again, that folder name. So say OK, and you'll see that it's putting it under here. Don't worry about this extra thing out here. That won't happen. So click OK, and you should see up here that we are committing it into trunk CS2173 code. That's what we're committing. And notice that it requires an import message. So we'll just say that's the initial import of our project. And then we select next, and it grinds and whirs, and then comes up with a list of all the files that it's going to commit. Notice these are in green. When something is in green, it means that it's new. So each one of these files and directories is part of what the NetBeans project setup is. Notice that over here we can actually select certain things to commit or not commit when we have this dialog open. In this case, we want to commit everything, and so we select finish, and it grinds and it whirs and has hopefully committed. So let's see what has happened now. When we notice on the right click that instead of versioning, it now has Subversion, and we have essentially imported our project here. We can say show the changes, and there aren't any changes. So at this point, we're ready to start some coding. And what we're going to do, our workflow is going to be that we will do some coding, and then you commit to Subversion. Every time you commit to Subversion, it will increment the revision number by 1, and it will keep track and remember each one of the commits that you make. That way you'll never lose anything, and even if you drop your laptop in the toilet or otherwise destroy what's local, you can always recover it because it's located on a server which is regularly backed up, and so the most you would ever lose is the work that you've lost, the work since your last commit. So we are now ready to start doing some work.